Hello, I'm Todd Phillips, the editor of Canadian Auto Dealer. We're here today with Chris Pfaff, President and CEO of Pfaff Automotive Partners. Chris, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Todd. Glad to be here.
Well, we've all felt it was coming at some point in the industry, but the day really seems to be here where a U.S.-based public is now in a partnership with a Canadian dealership group. So that announcement is coming out, and it's really causing a lot of interest. And I'm so glad you could join us here today and really help explain some of the details to us. So maybe if you could start with what this partnership means with Lithia Driveway.
Well, the Pfaff partnership, it is a partnership, and we're equity partners in the new business in Canada with Lithia. We have a different type of stake than we used to on our own, obviously, but we're really excited to move forward with them. And I've known these guys for a long time. Brian DeBoer, the CEO, and Chris Holchu, the COO. And I was down at their head office 3 years ago just for a meet and greet and get to know each other. And the time has come, and we got together now, and it's exciting for me and our team.
Well, the one thing people will want to know is, what does this mean for you personally? Obviously, you've been running this group, since the 90s, if I'm not mistaken. So for a long time, and it's grown rapidly, and you've really got a great brand and reputation in Canada, both as a dealer and as a group. But what does this mean for you? Are you sailing off into the sunset, or are you sticking around? Tell us about your plans.
So we actually closed on the weekend, the deal. So today's my first day in the new company. And a few people asked me, so how does it feel? And I said, it feels pretty much the same. We're just closing off August. We're going to start September, and we've got to sell cars, service cars, look after people, and that's really the same thing. And again, great thing of the Lithia culture is how they allow the regional platforms to continue to run the business and operate the business. They provide fantastic support in the background, but we're still running the business day to day. Cars are getting serviced today. We got to sell cars and stuff. That'll continue on. And as for myself as well, it's important that, a lot of my employees were asking me, Chris, does this mean you're going to be sailing off into the sunset? And that's not the case at all. I have a young family by chance, so I'm not going anywhere. And I've still love the business and look forward to what we can do together in this new partnership.
Well, you mentioned your team. That was sort of my next question. Is I was acquired once in a magazine group, and it creates lots of anxiety and uncertainty among those that are acquired. So what would you say in terms of your team and the message you would say about how they can expect operations to continue to under this new partnership?
It's very simple. And, when we announced it internally, we went around to the stores, me and Carol Deacon, my COO, and we went and talked to people in small group meetings and really let them ask questions and so forth. And there's just different levels of anxiety. I would say overall, people accepted it really well. I hope they, took me sincerely, that I really believe that this is a great new arrangement for us, and that things weren't going to change, and there isn't going to be a lot of change. I mean, we need to still service cars and sell cars, and there are people that support that, obviously, and that's not going to change. And I just think that we're going to get smarter as a company in the way we do things, and lean on their experience, and they've got a lot of great resources for that.
And in terms of the timing, you mentioned you've met them 5-6 years ago, so it's not sort of an overnight, relationship that you've known them a long time. But why the timing now? Why do you think it fit both for you and Lithia to enter the market where we are now?
Yeah, Brian DeBoer and I talked on and off over the years, and we caught up again last fall, and we just started kicking it around again. He said he's really wants to focus now on growing into Canada, and I said, well, let's see what that looks like. And again, I'd spent, a fair amount of time with them to get to know sort of how they thought. And I think we have very similar philosophies. I'd say we're both very humble organizations. And, if you have good success, that's great. You need to move on and prove yourself again the next day. So that for me was big, that I felt really comfortable with the culture that we were integrating. And I think it's to date, we're early days. It's been very seamless.
And the company itself really has ambitious growth plans, both in the U.S. and elsewhere, and are really in acquisition mode. But they also have a lot of technology underpinning their operations, e-commerce, data analytics and such. Are you excited about sort of bringing some of those tools north and starting to implement them in our marketplace?
Yeah, Driveway's their new platform in terms of offering consumers ways to integrate or to acquire vehicles or servicing from the Lithia stores in any way they want to interact. So you can, buy a car online fully, or you can go part of the process and then go to a store live. So that, has been rolled out, I think, down there now for a little over a year, and that's starting to really gain steam. And yeah, for sure, it's a natural for us in Canada. We already on our own have been working on, an online platform to sell to consumers, or to let them take part of that journey online and then come in and do the rest of the deal if they want to drive the car or touch the car, etc. So yeah, the world's changing, as we know, and COVID accelerated it. And I think that's great. I would also say a lot of Lithia's, the reporting they have is brilliant, and it really lets you get very focused on what matters. So, you talk about your manufacturer relationships, you talk about consumer satisfaction, and you talk about performance metrics, and what's best in class, and how do you get there.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see if other dealership groups have to step up their own game once all these new tools come north of the border. A different lens, sort of a bigger marketplace, obviously more analytics and data for them to build some of their new tools on. So I guess you'll still be competing with all of your old dealer principal buddies out there in the market. It's still on. Eh?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think for a lot of them, it's like us, is, how do you get better every day? How do you adapt to the consumers and how they're changing? Electrification of cars becoming more and more, prominent, and how manufacturers are having to pivot as well in their business model.
And I guess really this is a historic moment. Really, it's the first, and it probably won't be the last. Lithia, I think, has been pretty vocal in their own statements and such about their acquisition plans. So, but you'll always be the first, and I guess a part of a really historic shift. So, how's that resonated with you, being the guy at the helm for that?
Well, I don't know. It's cool. I guess it's cool. I mean, again, it's more about who we're partnering with, and again, I don't think there's many U.S. or Canadian groups that would have been the best fit for Pfaff. I think they're the best fit by far in North America for us. And yeah, growth is on our mind for sure, and we're definitely going to go out there and look for good acquisitions. And I think there's things happened a lot in the last year and a bit with COVID, and a lot of people are reflecting. The car business in terms of performance for the retailers has been absolutely fantastic. So there's a lot of good opportunities for other dealers as well if they want to get on board, let's say.
Okay. Well, listen, I really appreciate you spending some time with us today. Your first day on the job, and you do an interview with Canadian Auto Dealers. So I know you got lots of other things to get to, but I can't thank you enough for joining us today and sharing that with our audience.
Okay, that's great, Todd. Thank you very much.
Signing off.